Okay, now it works. Now it works. 1 second, let me see. And it's dead. It's dead, Jim. No? Wait. Huh. Let me just make sure this thing's working. Eh. 1 second. Might be a minute. That's fucking useless then. Alright. 1 sec. Just checking some stuff. Alright. I guess, my new internet connection just doesn't work. So I'll have to use the old one. Oh well. Well, let's talk about the news. I've got two stories. The Lebanon pager explosions, which I know is kind of old, but I only stream on Fridays. And the paper mile thing going on in the UK. Alright. 2024 Lebanon pager explosions. On 17 and 18th on 17th and 18th September 2024, thousands of handheld pagers and hundreds of walkie-talkies intended for use by Hezbollah exploded simultaneously across Lebanon and Syria in an Israeli attack. As of 2022, September 2024, 42 people had died. I would have expected more, to be honest, including at least 12 civilians. Damn. The incident was described as Hezbollah's biggest security breach since the start of the Israel-Hezbollah conflict. I can't talk today. I don't know what it is. In October 2023. The first wave of explosions occurred on 17 September around 1530 EEST, killing at least 12 people, including 2 Hezbollah members and 2 children, and wounding more than 2,750. Yeah, this is the danger of planting explosives in, pagers and walkie-talkies. You're gonna risk, this much, it's a bit much, including Iran's ambassador to Lebanon. The second wave occurred on 18 September, killing at least 30 people and injuring over 750. Devices targeted in the first wave were pagers, while in the second they were ICOM walkie-talkies. The explosions occurred in several areas of Lebanon with Hezbollah presence, as well as in several locations in Syria. There were chaotic scenes at the 150 hospitals across Lebanon that received victims of the explosions. In February 2024, Hezbollah Security General Hassan Nasrallah instructed the group's members to use pagers instead of cell phones, claiming Israel had infiltrated their cell phone network. Hezbollah then purchased Gold Apollo AR-924 pagers. About 5 months before the explosions, the Israel intelligence agency Mossad had secretly manufactured the devices, integrated the explosive PETN into the batteries, and sold them to Hezbollah through a shell company. International officials and scholars of the law of war have debated the legality of the attacks, with critics suggesting they might constitute war crimes or acts of terrorism. Well, I mean, planting explosives in just loads of pagers and walkie-talkies and sending them overseas is gonna incur a shitload of civilian casualties. So, yeah, I'd say so. Responding to the attacks, Nasrallah described the explosions as a major blow and labeled them an act of war, possibly a declaration of war by Israel. On 2022, September 2024, Israeli President Isaac Herzog denied any Israeli involvement in the explosions. Though Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu the same day said, "If Hezbollah does not understood the message, I promise you it will understand the message." I assume there's supposed to be a now there. Following the explosions, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant announced a new phase of the war in northern Israel and Lebanon had begun. Hezbollah vowed retaliation, launching a rocket attack on northern Israel a few days later that struck cities such as Nazareth and Kiryat Bialik, injuring several civilians, including elderly men and one teenager. Yeah, this is definitely... It's not a war crime the first time, but, I mean... You're planting explosives and commonly used... Well, I mean... I don't know how commonly used a pager is nowadays in the Middle East, but I imagine it's pretty common. But like 750 devices. And there was a second wave with walkie-talkies. Holy hell. How bad does it be? First wave. Okay, here we are. Many pagers across Lebanon and Syria unexpectedly exploded in an apparently coordinated attack on Hezbollah members, many of whom were seriously wounded, according to the Lebanese health ministry. The vast majority of those came to emergency rooms were in civilian clothing, and their Hezbollah affiliation was unclear. Facial and eye injuries were the most common effect of the explosions, and according to Tracy Chapman, I'm calling her Cham, the pagers emitted a sound to encourage users to pick the devices up and lift them to their heads. Other reports say that the devices vibrated and showed an error message on the screen, and only detonated when the users pressed a button to clear the error, increasing the chance that the operator of the device would be holding it. The explosions occurred in several areas where Hezbollah has a strong presence, including its stronghold of Dahieh in Beirut, southern Lebanon, and the Bekaa Valley near the Syrian border, where explosions were reported in the towns of Ali and Nahri and Riyak. In Syria, explosions of pagers were also reported in Damascus and its vicinity. Blasts reportedly continued for up to 30 minutes after the initial detonations, intensifying the resulting chaos. Witnesses reported seeing multiple individuals with bleeding wounds in the aftermath of the blasts. In one instance, an explosion occurred inside the trouser pockets of a man standing outside a shop. Photos and videos circulating on social media and local media from Beirut's southern suburbs showed individuals lying on the ground with injuries on their hands or near their pockets. Around 150 hospitals received victims of the attack, which saw chaotic scenes. Hospitals in southern Lebanon, the Bekaa Valley, and Beirut's southern suburbs were overwhelmed with patients. many suffering from injuries to the face, hands, and waist. In response, the Ministry of Health advised individuals with pagers to dispose of them and instructed hospitals to remain on high alert. It also called on health workers to report the work and asked them to not use wireless devices. The state-run National News Agency also called on health workers. The state-run National News Agency appealed for blood donations. Ambulance crews were deployed from the northern cities of Tripoli and Al Kalaman to help in Beirut. The attack came just days after the Biden administration's special envoy, Amos Hochstein, visited Israel and warned Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu against provoking a major escalation in Lebanon, because this could end up starting World War III, is what I've been told by various news sources, but I don't know how legitimate that is. Just before the blast, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant told the U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin that an operation was planned in Lebanon. At around 1700 EEST on 18 September, about 24 hours after the initial attack, a second wave of explosions occurred, targeting handheld radios. Explosions were reported in Beirut and Bekaa Valley and southern Lebanon. The explosions also caused fires in at least 2 homes. Other explosions occurred at a funeral held in Beirut for 3 Hezbollah members and a child who had been killed by the initial explosions. Lebanese civil defense said it responded to fires in at least 71 homes and shops, including a lithium battery store, as well as 15 cars and numerous motorcycles. These fires, triggered by explosions in various locations across Nabatea Governorate. One compromised device was discovered inside an ambulance outside the American University of Beirut Medical Center and neutralized in a controlled explosion by the Lebanese army. Hezbollah supporters reportedly prevented journalists from filming the incident at the AUBMC. The Lebanese Red Cross dispatched 30 ambulances to transport victims in the affected areas. The targeted devices were reported as ICOM ICV-82 of the ICV-82 model in 2014. And ICOM had previously issued an advisory warning about counterfeited radios, including the ICV-82. The company said on 19 September that it was conducting an investigation, and 2 days later announced that it was highly unlikely that the radios were theirs. A sales executive at ICOM's U.S. subsidiary said the transceivers involved appeared to be knockoff, counterfeit products. Other electronic devices, such as fingerprint biometric devices, were also reported to have exploded, though it remains unclear whether those devices caught fire from other explosions or detonated on their own. In the aftermath of the second wave of explosions, a group of men attacked United Nations interim force in Lebanon vehicles in Tyre, before Lebanese armed forces intervened. Oh no, the UN is being attacked. I'm concerned. But yeah, in the war crimes section of military doctrine, I mean, I figure it would already be illegal to, just ship out products with bombs in them to a country, It seems kind of weird to not have that as a law already. Then again, you know, how many people really listen to war crime law? Especially when it's like the intelligence agencies. They don't. All right. Second story. What is a pay per mile model and how might the maths work out? This is by Top Gear. I don't really trust modern Top Gear too much, but let's see what they have to say. What is a pay per mile model? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. Currently, every car on the road is currently subject to Vehicle Excise Duty, VED, more commonly known as road tax. Couple it with the tax we also pay on fuel, and the Treasury has got itself a tidy sum for maintaining roads and other such stuff. Yeah, it's not using that tax for the... If it is, it's not much, but I seriously doubt it. I have my doubts. Oh, is this where they're gonna try to... Listen, they're trying to justify it right here. This entire article is just going to... Okay, does it even describe it? Do you even describe the road tax? Oh, how will pay per mile model work as an alternative? Frankly, we don't know yet. There are rumors flying around that the government will introduce a pay per mile model in the next budget, 30th of October, but nothing in the world that have been running such road pricing schemes. Yeah, that's what... It's literally a scheme. They just want to tax them. It might have something to do with the fact that they've been bringing in so many immigrants that the government's running out of money to give them, so they're just looking to find more ways to tax the citizen, is my guess. In New Zealand, drivers pay road user charges. It's structured as a fixed price per 1,000 kilometers driven, and there are different rates for different vehicle types. For example, a regular passenger car pays $76 per 1,000 kilometers, whereas a plug-in petrol car only pays $38. Your typical Arctic lorry costs $389. Well, I mean, that's pretty shitty. That's all pretty shitty. So yeah, you pay per mile. I mean, it says it in the name, pay per mile. Oh, are there any... this Top Gear article is just complete garbage. Yeah, look at the tags, electric. Yeah, no, it'd be cheaper to just pay the $76 for the 1,000 kilometers. I mean, you might as... It's a plug-in petrol car. What is that? Is it like... I'm guessing that's like a partially electric engined motor? I'm guessing? Anyway. That's really all there is for the news. But, yeah. Don't commit war crimes and don't live in the UK. Glad we learned something today.